Yo, Natsu here. As you can see from the title, once again a new what if. This time the reason is quite simple. I'm taking a 1 week break from what if deku wasn't danmachi. The only reason I'm taking said break is actually because I'm doing the what if. I do have scripts as well as stuff, but I keep thinking of new things that I could add to the series. So basically I'm kind of in the process of modifying a bit what I was planning to do for later on in the what if. So until that's done, I'm basically taking a break to not kind of destroy or misplace some of the information. So as you can see, this what if is what if Deku was given a trial by the god. Well, a god's trial. First, I'll have to explain what it is, which basically a trial by a god's trial is when one or more gods from a specific world put a trial on a group of people or on the entire population of the world they are keeping. Basically, the harder the challenge and the more less people do it, the more the reward will be for each person doing it. So, example, if the gods decide to put a plague on the world and basically put a trial for the entire population, the reward won't be that big. It's going to be something, but they won't get too much strength either from it, because obviously the entire world is doing it. Same thing for if a million people are taken for a single challenge that is hard for that amount of people to do and would be impossible for a single person to do. If everyone except one person dies, but that the challenge is still completed, that person won't get the full reward that would have been given to everyone, just given to himself. He's going to get only the part that was going to go to him by the end anyway. So it's not like, multiple people are given a trial and I'm killing everyone else before the trial ends, I'm going to get more reward. It doesn't work like that. It's the harder it is and the less people it starts with, the more reward will be given at the end. So for Deku, his trial is basically him being born without a quirk and living in a society where everyone is literally against him. So basically, the normal thing of the series. But it is not the god of his world that gave the trial. And I'm going to explain it a bit later. So for now, let's start with, the life of Deku. It is almost exactly the same, except that on top of being bullied by other children at his schools, almost every adult except his mother, basically bully him as well once they find out. So yeah, it's way worse for him than in the original. So obviously Deku is getting a huge amount of psychological damage, with his mom being the only thing that basically helps it kind of stay okay. So mental scarring, basically being beaten up by a lot of other children. The adults hold back on doing that much just because, well, it would be a crime at that point. So, basically, he's being bullied by literally everyone. And the god who made that challenge was basically doing it just for his amusement, not thinking Deku would actually succeed. So, yeah, he was supposed to either decide to commit suicide, which would have been extremely bad, and which the god was basically thinking that was one of the two only options that would happen, or that Deku would actually be killed by someone who decided that, oh, we don't need someone who doesn't have a quirk, and so I'm killing you for that. So, yeah, the god basically just saw it as, I'm going to give him the worst possible challenge, something that's literally impossible to complete, and just have fun looking at that. So, up until the day he meets All Might, basically everything is even worse than in the anime and manga. The difference in that spot, though, the place where, the teacher talks about going to UA, is that when he sees that Deku wants to go there also, he's basically one of the people who laughs as well, saying that it's impossible for him. He's just a little boy without a quirk. Even one of the weakest person here would be able to just kill him. So, obviously, for Deku, that was even worse than before. Though because of the mental fortitude he got over, so many years of basically being bullied, like literally on the verge of being tortured, it basically doesn't even do anything to him anymore. It still hurts, but it's basically more of a I don't fucking care anymore. I know it's going to be like that forever, but still has that little glimmer of hopes in his heart that, oh, I might be able to become a hero. So, Deku continues basically doing the same thing. Deku goes to leave class, Bakugo does the same thing. This time, though, Deku doesn't get angry and tries to, thinks about replying to Bakugo. He just kind of walks next to him, going straight past him, with Bakugo just laughing at him even more. So, same thing happens. He passed through the, at the place where the sludge villain attacks him, and gets attacked again. Once again, All Might is there to save the day. Same stuff happened. All Might is basically the only person nearly in the world who wouldn't laugh at Deku for being quirkless, since obviously he was quirkless at one point, so basically an unforeseen event for the god who launched his trial. Because, he was thinking, anyone who has a quirk would bully him, so it doesn't matter. But All Might actually telling him gently that he might not be able to do it, basically telling him that he could still be a policeman or stuff like that, but not to hope too hard about becoming a hero. Basically breaking the last little glimmer of light Deku had, just like in the anime in that moment, just for Deku this time, taking it a lot better, since he basically was bullied and to the point of being tortured. So yeah, it doesn't hurt as much for him that time, though he feels the same whatsoever. So same thing happens, All Might goes away, the sludge villain is back loose, Bakugo kicks the bottle, he gets attacked, blah blah blah. With the biggest change here simply being that when people see Deku running towards him, a few adults already know that he's quirkless and basically just think, oh, he's going to his death. So yes, he's able to partially save Bakugo, which kind of makes a few people surprised at first. Then, when All Might comes, people basically just bully Deku that he's quirkless, he shouldn't even have done anything, or at least he should have died doing that to rid the world of someone like him. All Might hears all of that. In fact, he just thinks, why the fuck are people talking to a kid like that? Yeah, he might be quirkless, but why are they saying that? Like, Deku's the only... Well, not even Deku will know that a god was actually the reason for all that happening. So, All Might won't either. But yeah, a lot of things will happen, basically, after, well, a specific part. But yeah, so All Might, basically after Deku leaves, once again, just like in the anime and manga, goes to find him and does the same speech that Deku can still be a hero. But he will need to train, and he will train him. So, same thing happens, where All Might trains Deku, except that this time, there's also a difference in the training. Deku has a lot more mental fortitude, like I said earlier, because he's basically being bullied so much constantly that he basically had to learn that to deal with it. And mentally, even pure exhaustion, he could still pass through it. So the training goes a lot faster for him to basically clean the beach. Though All Might thinks that it was a bit too fast. Basically, instead of Deku taking 10 months, it only took 8. With All Might thinking that now he should learn how to fight before getting the quirk, because if he doesn't know how to do that, it might be dangerous for his body even then. Training him in combat, basically physical combat, for about a month before giving him the quirk. Which is then that Deku's trial actually was completed. So now let me explain the trial that the god tried to give Deku. Basically, Deku, his trial was given by a god from another world who basically just see anything that isn't a god as a plaything. Like, he doesn't even see them as things that are alive, just as toys that he could throw in the rubbish at any point. Yet normally I say trash, but I don't know why I just said rubbish right there. But yeah, so since he knows that his world, a lot of people still see him as kind of good, just a trickster god, which he isn't, but he was able to put up that facade. He decided to not throw that trial to basically bully a kid into oblivion. on that world. So he decided to look for another world where the gods look a bit less closely at their world, and found MHA. So he looked around and saw a baby that was about to be born without any special power. One of the rare beings at that point, well, rare humans. So he basically modified the thought of everyone who was born with a quirk to make them think that him in particular are quirkless being like him, while pointing directly at, while putting directly that aura around Deku, basically making it so that people don't see everyone without a quirk as less than useless, only him precisely. All Might passed over that from basically not being born with a quirk, and Inko passed over it because she was his mother. Basically kind of a love triumphs over all kind of idea. So she was not really it's not that she was immune, more that over time she basically kind of just got over it by loving Deku before being known that he didn't have a quirk. Be back in just a second. So basically, the trial he sent was literally, a kid without power in a world where everyone hates people without it. His trial was basically to survive until he had it, with the god just not knowing that One for All existed, since he didn't exactly look at everything that happened, just looked for a single being who could be quirkless, just to send that to have fun. So basically making it literally impossible from his point of view for Deku to beat that trial. Until All Might entered the picture. And basically when All Might gave him One for All to Deku, Deku's body now had a power that was his own. With the trial being completed, Deku not hearing it, but the gods of the MHA world hearing, trial has been completed. Choose reward. Basically, the gods seeing that looked at, what the trial was, saw who launched the trial, and basically saw that let me try that again. Basically saying that it was just a god who wanted to look at something to have fun, and they didn't even preset anything for, the reward for that trial. Making them get the notification that they need to give a reward to the one who completed it. And seeing all that he had to go through, basically making the god like, oh fuck, we need to find something now. Also, we need to put someone on going to that world and kicking that fucking god's ass. Basically because he messed with their world when normally, unless basically asked or given the permission, gods should not go to or investigate or even tamper with other worlds other than their own. Basically meaning that he broke those rules, as well as basically giving an impossible task, which trials are not supposed to be, so breaking even that rule. Since basically trials, the gods have literally something, basically a guideline, which is, a trial is supposed to be something completable for the amount of people that are there, and basically having a reward that is equal to the hardship it had for them. So basically, impossible trials are supposed to be impossible to get. Yes, people can fail those trials anyway if they do the wrong choices. But an easy trial can still be failed if the person is really not capable of doing it. A near impossible trial can still be made, as long as there is a 1% chance of doing it. But because it's just that percentage, they have to give a reward that is immense in contrast. But Deku just got done finishing a trial that was literally supposed to be impossible, since normally quirks cannot be passed except because of two different quirks, which are One for All and All for One. Which, yes, All for One can still give quirks to others, but it's kind of meh, while One for All basically passes itself. Yes, All for One can also steal quirks, so that's why he can also give them to others, but whatever. So, basically, the gods decided to give multiple things to Deku because literally we cannot do anything else. Basically, if they don't give a reward that is appropriate, they won't be able to basically send the gifts yet. And basically, for as long as they don't give it, they are basically stuck there. And since it's their world, not the other god's world, he's basically free of charge and just doesn't know yet that the kid passed the trial. So basically, what they gave Deku was, well, first, an extremely tough body. Basically, modifying all of his muscle, bones, well, basically every cell in his body were made stronger. Like, to the point where, well, for now, he could probably go, how can I say this? Right now, he could fight Kirishima, and Kirishima's hardening against Deku's skin would basically be almost the same thing. So, Deku basically being extremely hard. And I really mean Kirishima's hardening at the start of the anime. So, basically, only partial hardening and not that tough. Remember that. So, not all godly. Secondly is increased strength, which he already has. So, he is near superhuman after 10 months of training for his age. So, he's not superhuman level Endeavor. He's basically superhuman level for a 16-year-old. Which basically got added to that, not really boosting a lot of his strength, basically because he already had that. Yes, it increased, so obviously he's stronger. But it's not like, once again, god-level strength. After that, there's increased speed. Basically think of basically just think his speed as the start of the series without using One for All tripled. So yeah, that's kind of great. Anyway, with One for All, he's going to basically zoom past everyone anyway. since the gods did look at what he gained as well for the powers he's going to get. So, increased strength, increased speed, increased durability, increased whatever. He already has that. They still gave those, basically to help him use it. But still. Afterward, they gave him something that Deku won't realize until way, way, way later. And it's actually that his body won't age. So, basically, making it so that he won't have, well, first he won't age, so he doesn't have an age limit. He'll basically just keep aging while staying the same kind of, appearance. Though he can still gain muscles and stuff. But that's basically just an because his body will get tougher over time. But that means he's basically stuck as a shorty forever. The two other things that are given to him is a limitless growth potential. So basically, he can keep training and training and training, and he won't ever hit a limit to that. Basically just making it so that over time he will be stronger than everyone, even if he pass on the quirk. So, yeah. Good luck for everyone. Though remember, right now he's really nowhere that strong. In fact, One For All will be able to be used thanks to his body basically being stronger. But the problem is that One For All was also boosted because of his body being given more power, so he's only going to be able to still use around 10% of that strength, which will be closer to something looking like 30% of the strength. So yeah, Deku's going to be OP as hell in this. And the last power that was given to him is quite simple. He can think faster. Basically, how can I put it? His brain, near constantly, except when Deku doesn't want it to do that, he can think around 10 times faster than normal people. So basically slow down time to 1 second looks like 10 seconds for him, increasing his ability to think during a battle, which will increase over the series because of the growth rate, infinite growth rate they gave him. Which, funnily enough, he won't understand for a while why he has all of those, on top of him later getting the other abilities from the quirk One For All, making him even worse of a person to try and bully. Basically, the next day after Deku completed his trials and got all that as well as One For All, was the day All Might asked him to throw a punch to see how, strong he is. Because remember, he was able to use 100% without problem, so at first he knew that, if his body isn't trained, he's basically going to blow up. But he didn't know that, because of the huge amount of power and that the quirk was acclimated to his body precisely, after 40 years of, using it, Deku's body wasn't ready for that, and the quirk wasn't ready for another person. So even then, when the quirk is literally 3 times stronger than it should be, with Deku's body being a lot tougher than it should be, when Deku threw a full percent punch, he nearly blew his body off. His arm almost blew up, which I think I forgot to say something. I think I forgot to say it, but he can regenerate. Yeah, I forgot to say that, right? Basically, it's another part of the body that basically stays young. His body can heal fast. Basically, if an arm is missing, it will regrow over a few weeks. So like, after 2 or 3 weeks, it's going to be back fully. Though if Recovery Girl do give him a kiss, since his body still has the ability to heal that, yeah, the arm will come back a lot faster. But Deku will basically go in a coma for a few days because of basically losing all of that energy. And yes, over time it will increase as well. But that's going to move a lot slower for increasing the regeneration. So you won't really see Deku heal his arm in a few hours before a long time. But yeah, basically Deku literally broke his arm from, well, a bit over the elbow all the way to his hand. That bone is basically shattered to crumbs, with the upper arm, well, the rest of the arm all the way up to the shoulder just being really mangled, but in a better shape. All Might basically freaked out at this because, oh shit, I wasn't ready for that to happen. And basically got a favor from Recovery Girl, basically bringing Deku there, with her basically healing Deku, asking what happened, with him saying that he gave the kid one for all because, well, he was quirkless, but this is just way too strong. With Recovery Girl basically responding nicely to Deku, since the trial is over. Yes, most of the people, well, everyone who already knew of him will have the same mindset still there because, well, they had met him. But now that he aura around him that basically makes people who were born with quirks disappeared, she doesn't see it like that. In fact, she just thinks, oh, poor him. So she basically healed him, with Deku going literally limp, since this isn't as far as basically losing his arm. Since everything is still there, it just needs to be placed back. It healed correctly, and basically since it's the same thing that happened when he exploded the robot's face, it did put him to sleep, but it wasn't a coma. She basically told him to try and reel it back in a bit because that was dangerous, and then explained to him that, well, her quirk uses up all the energy in the body of the person who is healed to heal the injury. So with how injured Deku was, it's surprising he's even still conscious at that moment. So basically telling him to rest, and that when he tries again, to try not to break his body, since she won't always be there to heal him, as well as it might not be a good idea to move him around too much while he has a broken arm. Saying that one to All Might, which I don't know if you heard that, but damn. Anyway, basically telling All Might that he should be more careful with that. They basically let Deku rest a bit, then when he was awake he went back home with, well, a few things basically happening, since this is basically a month before UA starts, so I think he's not in school right now, so he shouldn't actually have problems with that. But basically, he kept going to All Might, which basically All Might just kept making him train instead of using One for All to increase Deku's body strength and toughness to keep him, well, able to do it. Then asked a favor from Gran Torino, because he really doesn't want Deku to die using the quirk. Gran Torino seeing the problem automatically when he asked Deku to throw a punch. Gran Torino stops him before he does it and tells him that he should send the energy around his entire body instead of just keeping it in the arm, since it might be a bad idea, since it's going to break it again, which might be a bad idea. Deku basically started trying to send it around his body, being able to do it basically just after a few days, since by this point he didn't get the training yet of using One for All from time to time. So he doesn't have yet the grasp of the feeling it has. So after a few days of basically trying it, he was able to send it around his body, with Gran Torino telling him to reduce the power before using it, because if his entire body explodes, he doesn't think Recovery Girl will be able to heal him that time. With Deku not understanding how to do it yet, and basically taking the rest of the time he had before UA just to learn to reduce the power. So, first day of, entrance exam of UA is the first day Deku's actually going to be using it by doing a punch for the first time. Basically, All Might and Gran Torino telling him that he can use it as much as he wants, as long as he doesn't break his body. If he does that, they're going to try and make sure he doesn't, not that he doesn't get into UA, but basically look for another successor for him to give it right now, which would be bad anyway, so meh. Like, it's okay if he breaks a bit of his body if the need is to be used, but not to forcefully break his body consciously without the need be. So, Deku goes to UA, he meets Uraraka, but this time not because he is falling. It's actually the opposite. She is the one to fall, with Deku basically catching her, and then being shy and saying sorry that she was actually falling, so he just grabbed her without thinking, with her thanking him before saying that they need to go before they can't enter, so they kind of leave it at that, with Deku thinking, once again, just like in the anime, I talked to a girl. With this time actually talking to said girl. So he entered, did the written test, which he literally just aced, because 10 times the time, that's what he had to do it. So, yeah, even if he was bad at it, he would have probably did good, but we already know he's a brainy kid, so yeah. Once they are on the chairs with President Mike ready to talk, Bakugo basically tries to insult Deku, that why is a quirkless person here, while deranging nearly everyone. Ida basically telling him to stop saying that, and basically just saying that he saw, pointing at Deku, the kid using his quirk to help a girl who was falling a bit earlier. So why do you call him quirkless? With Bakugo just thinking, what the fuck are you talking about? He's been quirkless all his life. How would he use a quirk? Basically, when he catch Uraraka, he basically used 2 to 3% of one for all just to accelerate to catch her. So Ida and a few other people basically saw that happening. So after basically that happening, President Mike telling them to sit down, and then telling Bakugo to not make up rumors. With Bakugo being angry because, well, he didn't start a rumor. Deku was quirkless. Deku literally not caring about that at all. So, be right back, people. But yeah, so President Mike explained everything. Well, finished explaining everything, since he didn't even have time to start explaining when Bakugo was already screaming. Then Ida once again stopped everyone to ask about, well, the 0-pointer. Being explained about it, Ida understanding, and then them being told to go to their respective cities. Uraraka saw Deku and basically wanted to thank him again and present herself. Ida, this time having seen what had happened earlier, doesn't actually bother them. Also being a bit afraid of, well, Deku, to be more precise. He's basically afraid of Deku just because, well, when Bakugo started screaming at him, he saw basically the same green lightning that Deku had used around his body to catch Uraraka, but only on Deku's arm, ready to punch Bakugo. Basically, for the first time, Deku thinking, I could do it. So he was just afraid of that, because if he can accelerate, how good would be that punch? Also, this is a Deku that was trained to fight, so it's literally not just, oh, I throw punch in any way that I can think of. So, yeah, he was just kind of, I don't want to have anything to do with that. I don't want to annoy him right now. Then when everything was ready to... Fucking fireworks. Almost every night here, there's some. And it's never just like, oh, because there's something special happening. It's literally because at one of our dep not far from home, they sell fireworks. Since here, you can buy them as long as you don't use them in a place that could catch fire easily. They don't even fucking care. So a lot of people just suddenly use them at any point. Okay, so going back to the what if. After basically Deku and Uraraka meeting for the second time and presenting themselves, with Ida not interrupting, President Mike start counting. Then you hear 3. Everyone starts preparing, with Ida just preparing but looking at Izuku. 2, Izuku just suddenly flashing green, with a bit, well, it's green around his body, but there's also something else that Ida can see. As if an aura, well, another type of aura was forming on Deku at the same time. Basically as if a huge amount of energy was being released at the same time. Which is true, basically his body kind of boosting the quirk at the same time because of the super strength and everything else. So, Ida's seeing right. Ida just think, oh shit, basically tries to be ready to go as fast as possible to beat Deku in speed. Go! with everyone feeling a blast of wind going right beside them, with Ada having started running, but seeing Deku already in front of him while Deku was behind him right before. Deku literally running through so fast towards the robots that when he started actually breaking them, most camera could only pick him in different image. So like, in one image he was there, in the next image, which normally, no matter the speed at which you go, will have another, will be there, not like, he won't be too far away, and normally still has a part of his body that would be overlaps with the other. His body was a bit further than that. Basically, very good cameras, so that's even worse. Which basically made even the teachers just think, how fast is this kid? And remember, that would just be about 10% of, well, less than 10% of what Deku can, well, that would just be less than 10% of what One For All could do for Deku in this What If, because of everything else that Deku's body has. Basically meaning that Deku right now, which One For All is 3 times faster, well, 3 times stronger, as well as Deku's body already being fast, strong, and whatever else on top of that. So basically, Deku is just going straight through every robot, nearly. Well, he's only taking the 3-pointers and half of the 2-pointers you see, leaving everything else behind. He's basically just going straight towards the center of the city where less people would be. Basically destroying a huge amount of robot extremely fast. People basically started breaking robots as well behind him because, oh shit. And after about half the time was used, Deku started going back, which only takes about a minute for him. Well, 2 minutes, I should say. So basically, after 70% of the time is past, Deku comes back to where everyone else is, which he has almost 400 points easily because of the huge amount of robot he has destroyed. And then basically he just goes to help others. So people who are in danger, people who are about to get hurt. At some point he sees someone actually almost being crushed by a rock, which wouldn't actually kill them, just break their legs. And no, it's not a rock, it's not that time yet, but basically just jumping in and literally just catching the rock, telling them to be careful, and leaving again. Basically everyone just see a green lightning going around, taking people out of danger, or breaking robots that are about to hurt someone. And basically, only the people who he saved and says things to actually see him fully. With the teachers just thinking that that's a lot of point he's getting. Is it okay? With Nezu just being impressed because, well, that's a powerful kid. Aizawa were thinking the same thing, until the 0-pointer arrives. Stone falling on Uraka, Deku seeing it, and basically him jumping in to take the rocks off of her, her saying she can't move. Deku looking at the robot and just thinking, yeah, I'm taking that down. And basically knowing that a full 10% using a punch, since when he was breaking everything else, he wasn't going all out or using too much strength to actually, well, destroy them, trying not to actually damage too much of the city. But then he decided that, you know what? Let's see what 25% can do. I'm going to break my arm, but it won't be that bad. Basically, more closely looking, well, the bone having some cracks when he does that, with the skin being mangled a bit, but not actually completely destroyed. So, Deku basically preparing his punch. All Might seeing that, Gran Torino being basically invited by All Might and Nezu just accepting to have him there, to basically look at that. And then just seeing Deku use 20%, All Might and Gran Torino basically just thinking, is he serious? And then Deku basically just blasting half of the robot clean off, with piece of the robot falling in the other cities. So basically just ripping it to shred. He was still able to move his arm. It wasn't completely broken, so he didn't break his promise. He was hurt, but not broken. So, yeah. Recovery Girl passed by, healed Uraraka, then healed Deku, who was in a way better state. So, yeah, there wasn't any problems with everything. Uraraka saying thank you, and Ida basically going towards Deku, telling him that he's amazing. His speed is impressive. Then basically saying that his quirk is made for speed, but even he isn't that fast. Basically, Ida just seeing Deku as, well, an impressive motherfucker. Sorry about that. Ida still doesn't know about the points, so that's basically just a reaction of literally seeing Deku and thinking he's giving up points to help people. Not thinking that points are going to be awarded for that. So then, everyone leaves. Uraraka gave her number to Deku. Basically, just kind of friendship. Not there yet. Like, nowhere near there yet. But yeah, so Deku went back home, and basically his mother, who was told the same lie of, oh, well, quirks can appear late, like a really late bloomer, basically telling the same lie to his mom as he did in the original, and him saying that he was able to get a lot of points, and he might take first place. Later, when the letter arrives, Deku and Bakugo, let's say they open it at the exact same time. Deku being really happy with Bakugo being in second place, Deku being in first. Bakugo being mad as all hell. How did this quirkless bastard beat me? That shouldn't be possible! And basically exploding almost his entire room at the same time, thinking I'm going to kill this bastard. His mom basically hitting him on the head because don't explode your room. Then seeing that, well, the quirkless boy, that even she, because of the curse, well, the trial that Deku had to go through, was thinking he was basically weak and everything. Seeing Deku being in first place, kind of removed a bit of her hatred towards him in that way, basically thinking, well, he seems to have grown stronger. What, you didn't beat him? Basically still being mad and, well, bad against Deku for being quirkless, with basically a few things being said. Like, not long after that part, in the letter that Bakugo received, Nezu himself basically appeared saying that he shouldn't keep treating people as weak. That he heard of what happened during the presentation, and that if he tries to attack Izuku Midoriya again, he might get in trouble with school. And if it keeps happening, it could go to being thrown out of school. With Bakugo being mad as all hell even more from that. So yeah, I'm going to end it here. Hope you liked it. Leave a like if you did. If you have any question or comment, leave them in the comment section. I read everything since there's literally no comments that are being put. So yeah, my Discord is going to be in the description. Hope you liked it. Natsu, out.